Hello everybody, welcome to Fantasy or Prehistory. I'm speculative fiction writer J. Lion Layden. We're here to talk about Game of Thrones. This is the third part of our Season 6, Episode 7 coverage. We're talking about the Hound. The Brotherhood without banners shows up. We know they're the Brotherhood without banners because the head guy is wearing a red cape of a priest of R'hllor. And later on, when Sandor is talking to Septon Ray, he says that they were from the Brotherhood without banners. But they've turned very dark. This doesn't seem like something that the Brotherhood without banners would have done in the first or second seasons or the third seasons. They seem to have changed. Now some people think, well, maybe this is just a bad sect of the Brotherhood without banners. They've grown. They're more than just a small guerrilla force now. And maybe some people are using the name in order to get what they want. But I think it's something deeper than that. I think this heralds the return of Lady Stoneheart. In A Song of Ice and Fire, a lot of these people who are resurrected, they seem to be bent on the last desire they had before they died. Beric Dondarrion was obsessed with doing that one last final test, taking the mountain down, because that was his last order that Ned Stark gave him before he was killed by the mountain. Also in the books, the last thought that Catelyn likely had was vengeance, and that's why Lady Stoneheart is leading the Brotherhood without banners in the absence of Beric Dondarrion on a much darker path. Now I hope that wasn't Thoros in the Red Cape. I hope they haven't switched actors again, and because we kind of need to know that if that was Thoros. But I don't think so. I think it was probably another Red Priest, maybe a newly initiated one, maybe by Thoros. The appearance of Lady Stoneheart by the end of the season, I think that she's going to probably appear in Season 10, maybe in the very last scene of the whole season. In the next scene with Arya trying to buy passage to Westeros, of course, Arya is the broken man. Or is it only an aspect of Arya, if you believe the Fight Club twist prediction? Or was it the waif that we saw got stabbed? If you want to know more about that, I've already posted a video detailing that this week on the channel, and you can click on it right here. To further expand a little bit, a really interesting thing about the Arya-Waif conflict is that why does the Waif have such a bad grudge on Arya? Is it just because she's highborn? Well, that doesn't seem like an attitude a faceless man should have. Is it because she keeps failing? Well, in the book, she keeps failing, and Jaqen keeps promoting her, even though she's failing. But in the season, we don't really see that. She's doing just as good a job as the Waif is, following the rules of the faceless men. I mean, the Waif's holding a grudge. She's either holding a grudge or she has bloodlust. Arya has somewhat, at least, shed her list. So it seems like that you got a double standard there as far as Jaqen's attitude towards the Waif and Arya. But what if it's true that the Waif is from Westeros? I mean, when Arya asks her where she's from in a previous series, she has a very detailed response about being from Westeros and her family and her house getting poisoned, and we all believe it's a lie. But what if it's true? She may have some deeper grudge against Arya, something to do with a conflict between houses. The HBO's After the Thrones segment that I think came out last night, they agreed with the theory that I have about the face switching already having taken place before Episode 7, and that it's Arya actually getting stabbed. And here's that clip right now.
Relaxed here. You know, I think that one of the things that drew so many viewers into Game of Thrones in the first few years is that characters that we love were killed. Yes. And that could happen.
Yeah.
The characters, you know, if you look at Robb Stark, I mean, this is Prince Valiant. He is not supposed to die, and he's certainly not supposed to die that way. He certainly did die that way. this year we've been getting a lot of things that we want happening. John is back. Characters we missed have returned. Are we getting a little ahead of ourselves, just assuming that she's great, she's fine? Because she didn't look too fine.
Bleeding freely, I'm going to choose to believe that that's not really Arya, that the face swap happened in reverse. Or something crazy.
What?
Just because I'm
face swap?
like maybe Arya's the one. That's her classic go-to.
Travolta in a cage?
That's how she shivved wearing trans. You know, who knows? I'm just saying, let's get crazy. This is why we're here, to get crazy, to talk nonsense.
I was thinking, not so far away from what you're saying. I kind of thought that maybe this is all part of her training, that this like mission tempted her, and that they're actually going to bring her back and be like, actually, what you need to do is you do need to execute your kill list. And that faceless man is powered by like his own personal grievances or something. But
I like that.
I mean, that's quite a deviation from faceless man ideology.
That Arya, you're so I just felt like Arya was basically, I'm worried that she was a stand for the audience here, just being like, everything's better now, and I could put on clothes and flash my money and take a boat, and we're all going to be done with this.
Yeah, this cool new haircut. Yeah.
She was basically taking the G.R.R. Greyjoy travel plan, right?
Yes,
She was like, I'm going to get this done before dinner.
Where did she get all that money?
I don't know, man. That's a great question. I guess that maybe Jockin's got a nice little stash.
House of Black and White has an ATM.
Preston Jacobs, who is the YouTube expert on backstory for Game of Thrones as it pertains to his other short stories and the G.R.R. Martin universe, which is mostly a science fiction universe other than Game of Thrones, has a very interesting thought on Arya. Coming at it from a reader's perspective, Arya does fail a lot, and it does give the Waif some cause to be resentful of her. She fails, but Jaqen still gives her extra chances, promotes her, and the idea is that Arya is something more than a faceless man, or not just a faceless man. That's why she's given some special treatment. And this has really got to be true because Arya is a ward. She may be a powerful psychic as well. Now, what is the psychic phenomenon in Game of Thrones, the ward phenomenon? Why does it seem to be coming back right now when our story takes place? Why is the Red Priest power becoming more powerful as dragons reappear in the world and the flaming meteor or comet sword is seen in the sky? Why are all these things happening at the same time? We'll be talking about that on our next release. Maybe Arya is one of the few faceless men who can actually switch faces without having to have a physical face from the Hall of Faces. Maybe she's able to actually morph. Maybe the Waif's just her doppelganger. Or if you want to hear more about that, the video I posted earlier this week is right below. Sandor Clegane finds all of his friends massacred, and this gives him a new purpose. It doesn't seem like the purpose that Septon Ray had in mind for him, but I think this purpose involves an axe. I think that Sandor has just witnessed yet another miracle. Maybe it was coincidence that Septon Ray found him and he survived 6 times. Maybe it was because he's just a big fucker. But now, once again, he's the only person saved at a massacre. The only thing that saved him was a twist of fate. And so I think that he's now got proof of this higher power that he's talked about in his AA meetings with Septon Ray. And maybe he's not seeing that the higher power is leading him in the same place as Septon Ray thinks that it's leading him, but I think it involves an axe. The axe saved him from the massacre, the axe saved his ass, and now the axe is going to cut some ass. So the story of Sandor's reappearance is a little bit different in the books than it is in the shows. They both have him being saved by someone who is part of the Faith of the Seven. Had to have some association with the Faith of the Seven, with his resurrection, in order to steer him back towards King's Landing to fight against Gregor Clegane in Cleganebowl.
He hates his brother most of all, so there's always the possibility of a Cleganebowl, as the fandom calls it.
Yeah.
Howland Reed's got to come back in the story in a big, important way, and he's been foreshadowed enough. He has to appear, and he should have appeared by now. I think he already has. I was up in arms between the Septon with Gregor Clegane and the High Sparrow. Now that Rey is dead, I'm leaning towards, once again, the High Sparrow being Howland Reed. And even though Cleganebowl looks like it may have been somewhat postponed because there's only 3 episodes left, and Sandor would be killing some Red Priest and getting to the landings pretty quick if it's going to happen by the end of this season, it's still going to happen, and it'll probably happen next season. What I think you're going to see next episode is, as the previews have shown, the Mountain coming into a conflict with the clerics of the Faith of the Seven. I don't think this is going to spell the end of the High Septon or Cersei. I think it's going to prolong it. It may amplify the danger that Cersei is in King's Landing, but this won't be the final say. There will still be a trial after the conflict that's coming up next episode, and there will still be a Cleganebowl. Now, an interesting thing that my brother and I discussed after watching episode 6 was the possibility of Arya getting back to Westeros in time to play a part in Cleganebowl. It would be an interesting arc if it looks like Sandor's going to lose, but Arya shows up as a ninja and saves his butt at the end. This would set up a situation where Arya has redeemed herself for leaving her friend to starve or die of thirst, but at the same time Sandor would be a little miffed at her because he didn't get to kill his brother. At first that didn't look like it could happen so quickly, because it looked like at season 6 that Cleganebowl was going to happen by the end of the season. But I think the added little trials that we're going to go through are going to postpone it a little bit. I think next season, or next episode, Sandor is going to be chopping some heads with an axe. Gregor's going to be killing some clerics. And this is going to kind of give us a little expose, pre-fight expose, like between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. You got a little coverage of each camp. You got the coverage of Rocky Balboa going through his training over here, and then you got Mr. T kicking ass over here. And this is all going to build up more anticipation for Cleganebowl. But now that it's been postponed, and it's going to be at least a couple episodes before Sandor can get to Gregor, that gives Arya some time to get there too. If they can prolong it all the way to next season, I think that theory might actually happen. I think Arya might play a part in Cleganebowl. We may see King's Landing split into 2 factions, with Cersei and the Mountain on one side and Marjorie and the High Sparrow on the other. I think possibly by the end of the season we're going to see a burn them all scene where Cersei goes crazy and blows some shit up with that wildfire that Qyburn's been storing with his pyromancers. But I don't think that's going to be the end all be all either, especially if it happens this season, because man, Cleganebowl is a go. I've already bought my tickets. It's going to happen. Well, that's all we have time for today. I'm going to leave you with a blistering keyboard solo from Dr. Dan Matrazzo. It's from our latest release. We released it today on this channel. The song's called Deep Breathe. And if you like it, click the link and hear the whole song. See you next Thursday. on fantasy or prehistory.